Louisiana's political landscape is changing. The inauguration of Republican Governor Jeff Landry shifts a formerly bipartisan legislature into a Republican supermajority. The state's Democratic Party will have to work overtime to keep their agenda from falling by the wayside. The new Democratic House leader, Representative Matthew Willard, reflects on the past governor's race and the future of the party. Take a look. So you mentioned the transition, and the Louisiana legislature is about to experience a major transition. There's going to be more Republicans, and there's also going to be a Republican head of state. So what does that look like for the Louisiana's Democratic Party, the future of it, its agendas, and also the strategy to get legislation passed?
It's definitely a big transition for us. The biggest loss will be Governor John Bel Edwards leaving the governor's mansion in this transition to now Governor Jeff Landry. There's a lot of things that we're going to need to do. We really, at this moment, need to galvanize and energize Democratic voters throughout the state. And I think that's a huge opportunity for us. And we really just need to let the people of Louisiana know and the Democratic voters know that the House Democratic Caucus will continue fighting and advocating for their needs and those of their families.
So is there any concern about not being able to pass what you want to get done on the agenda because there's such a majority coming in?
We really don't have time for that concern. We have to continue fighting and advocating for those people-centric policies. In my professional life, I was a scrum master, and I led this team of engineers by the ideology of incremental progress. And over the past 4 years as a legislator, that's really been my focus area. We know that we can't deliver a minimum wage of $15 an hour in the state of Louisiana. We know that it's going to continue being challenging to get equal pay for equal work. But we'll continue putting those policies out there and seek different ways to move the ball forward and have that incremental progress, with the understanding that we may not be able to bring everything home in one legislative instrument.
Well, in your opinion, what is the best strategy to truly have a bipartisan legislature?
I think one of the key focal points of that is communication. Constant, consistent, and frequent communication, not only with me and my members, but with House leadership, with the governor's office. And I think we can all agree that there are many issues facing the people of Louisiana in our state that are not partisan. Insurance reform needs to happen. Homeowners insurance is unaffordable and people are losing their homes. Our public education system needs tremendous improvement. We consistently rank at the bottom of those lists compared to our other states. So there are a lot of issues out there that are not partisan, and I think if we come together, we can work towards solutions for those issues with the understanding that there will be those partisan fights, and we'll have to respect each other's viewpoints during those debates.
So something that you'd mentioned earlier was that you wanted to galvanize voters and voter support. So that kind of brings me into my next question. The election was a little bit of a disappointment for the Democratic Party. The frontrunner, Shawn Wilson, only got about 26% of the vote, and voter turnout was very historically low. I mean, what do you think the Democratic Party could have done differently? And also, how do you plan to get that support so that next time maybe the voter turnout will be a little different?
I really do think that Shawn Wilson was running against a stacked deck. Governor Landry came out of the gate very early with millions of dollars at his disposal. He secured the endorsement of the Republican Party, and all of that time that he took preparing and setting the stage really put Shawn Wilson and the Democratic Party at a disadvantage. We didn't have the funding needed to run a statewide gubernatorial campaign. I think that the state party needs to really focus on engaging with members throughout the state of Louisiana that tend to vote Democratic and let them know that we will continue prioritizing their needs. There was just no ground effort, and Shawn Wilson did what he could, but the resources that he needed, the time he needed to really build up a statewide campaign and to get people familiar with his name. Governor Landry had already served as Attorney General. He had great state name recognition. Shawn Wilson, while he was the Secretary of DOTD, most families in my district, Gentilly in New Orleans, people didn't know him. And he was at a disadvantage from that perspective as well. So timing, we needed more time to organize a campaign. funding. We needed more resources to educate and galvanize support across the state. And we really needed better boots on the ground, people knocking doors, people making phone calls, people going to churches to get them excited about the possibility of Sean Wilson being Louisiana's next governor.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Representative Willard, and can't wait to see what you guys are going to do.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on the show.